you want to have a say in what I watch now that I have finished Death Note, feel free to check out the community tab on my channel. We are currently running a poll for what we're going to be replacing that with. So if any of the shows on screen now interest you in this poll, feel free to go over there and cast your vote. What's up? I'm Grizz. Welcome. Episode 10, Hyouka. The movie murder mystery continues onwards. I have lots of questions. I don't have particularly any answers. Here we go. We're just going to kind of go into it. I do have suspicions, which we talked about in the discussion last week, so hopefully we'll just see if any of those kind of flare up and come true. I don't know. I feel like I'll like and subscribe. You mean a lot to me. Feel free to stick around for the discussion. Please leave any comments about this episode or series. Let's go into episode 10. Oh yes, we're getting tea. That's true. Or something like that. What did you think? Like tea or tea? No. Long ass name, holy. Good. I'm actually happy they skipped through it like that. Because... Yes. You said no. Or that, yeah. Listen, if you put the facts in front of him, he can't help but turn it down. So you were just testing him? Sure. Okay. Who is that, him? Who? These are some really interesting shots. So she was specifically targeting him because she believed... You're the chosen one, brother. Oh. Tinted in a color. Nice. Shit, how can you turn that down, right? Enough with the luck, buddy. Yeah, whatever makes you happy. Which is kind of what's happening here. But yeah. Shit, I'm just gifted. Shit. Yeah, exactly. How you make those people who are so excited and want to figure this out feel, huh? I feel like he's realized this though, and he's just lying to himself here. Like, or not allowing himself to realize it. Yeah, as he just said, he doesn't give himself enough credit. Yes. Have some faith, brother. You could be something truly special if you really embraced it, you know? Put it to good use. He's in. He's in. Yeah, let's go. That's like a first time. Say it, please. She actually wasn't, shockingly. Yeah, but he saw an opportunity. A chance he never thought he would get again. What if I told you I'm special? Well, shit, he is the processing unit, right? Yeah, I'm with him, dude. Yep. But is that not more of like a refusal to like really properly sit down and put in that effort and actually attempt to kind of do it thing. Like you fail to, it's similar in a way to Uriki's kind of way of doing things here. If he actually sits down and puts his mind to it, he really can do it. But if he kind of just says, nah, I can't do it, or nah, I don't want to, or I'm not special or whatever, it never actually kind of becomes a thing, right? Nope. I'm pretty certain in myself here. Pretty comfortable. That's cute. Nice. Just spit out what she said to you. Not the point though. Huh. Huh. No. This can't be rich. This can't be real, no. Kinda. How is she today? Feels weird with Chitanda not being here. Yeah, at first glance. It is. But it does give up that vibe by it being so shaky and everything, you know? So I don't know if I agree. She's pretty good at those. That's her specialty, though. Yeah. I need to know the fucking secret. Oh, he made it back. The way he talks, dude. Remember me. There's a presence of me. I love him. Aww. That's fucked up. Isn't it summer break? Nobody's in the fucking library. Couldn't they just like sit in the library together and do this? She's not that busy, I'm just saying. Whatever, it all falls on him. They wanted him to do it anyways. You getting anything, brother? Because I'm still not. I don't think I'm anywhere further right now than I was at the beginning. Okay, this is trippy. That's all he can think about. It's just mapped in his brain. Yeah? I don't know it, bro. Good for you, though. Oh, she shuts him down. She's like, you're fucking stupid. That's not right. Sure. Okay. I still think it is, personally. But that's why I think it's so weird that we would just introduce a seventh that we haven't shown off yet. So... Ah, so the cameraman's old on it. Did they have it written in the script somewhere that they need to be using this lighting and stuff? Or is this literally all just decision? Because this is straight from the camera person for sure, right? I don't think they're going to take that much in. The camera person was the other? But I just don't understand how they would get into the room I guess it holds a still shot when they all go into different areas, right?
彼らはそこにいるカメラマンを意識していたんです。カメラマンというと語弊がある。7人目と言いましょうか。
Sure.
配置メンバーが劇場内部に散った時、カメラは
It was held in a still shot, yeah.
そしてシーンがアウトした。
So in the time where it fades out, the cameraman has time to go do.
カメラはロビーで戻ってくるメンバーを待っていたんです。
Okay. Took advantage of the opportunity, came back at the same time or beforehand.
カイトを殺した後、それを使って部屋を閉じます。
I mean, yeah.
そしてロビーで他のメンバーが戻ってくるのを待ったんです。
That erases all concern I had about like introducing a character that was not introduced in a way, right? So yeah.
7人目が一言も喋らず声もかけられないというのは不自然ではないか。
Sure.
本郷はそれを動機にしたのかもしれません。7人目は他の6人に無視される存在でした。彼はそれゆえ自分から口を開くこともできなかった。
That could work.
沢木口の言葉を借りましょう。別にいいでしょう。それくらいが謎に悩みさえすればそれでいいと思いませんか。
Sure, especially for somebody not inspired by mysteries and stuff so much to begin with,
作中
right?
の奴らには推理する必要もなく、犯人は明らかだからです。
Rejected.
おめでとう。君は本郷の謎を解いたようだな。
Okay. Congratulations, brother man.
映画は完成する。
Do you feel good about this now that you did this?
やはり私の目に
Are you happy?
なかったようだ。君には技術が他の誰にもない。
You proved that in a way. Are you happy now?
いや、まあその。
Okay.
恐縮です。
Are you
ど
though?
うだろう。あの映画のタイトルをつけてみないか。
Oh.
万人の資格というのはどうでしょう。
Blind spot to all.
いいタイトルだ。それに決めよう。
That makes sense. That works. That works.
そうだな。
Like I have to watch this shit again. Oh no no, this is oh okay.
あんたがやったの？
The completed version.
リアル回答だ。
It's the fucking star himself. It's not a phantom. Yeah, I wish he killed more.
面白かったよ。まさかカメラマンとはね。
Well, he did.
もうこんなこと考えてたの？
あの時は考えついてなかった。
Yeah, they all expected it on you. Yes.
私、後でです。
Yeah.
じゃああんたは幅先輩の言ったことをどう考えたの？
幅の？
The glasses guy?
あの映画の中にはどこにもザイルが出てこなかったわよ。
Huh. So we're still... Huh. So they're trying to make us think they're fucking done and they're... Okay, so I don't think there's going to be much discussion because I think this episode was rather straightforward. A lot of what was presented. There are a few things I definitely want to talk about and bring up. Not even relating to the mystery. But specifically, I do want to talk about the way that they did that at the end. Specifically, bringing up the rope, which I completely forgot about the rope being involved. And the specific amount of like blood being called for and stuff. Like all that stuff just slipped through the mind throughout this episode. And the conclusion that we gave for the cameraman and everything, while I had my issues with it throughout, it made enough sense that I wasn't going to overly question it, right? And that's disrespect on my part to Hongo's writing abilities, right? I'll be honest when I say, like, if they ended it that way and this was like end of the arc thing, I would have been incredibly unsatisfied personally. It just like I talked about at length before my displeasure with using something that like hasn't been introduced to the people. Like we haven't had a proper introduction to a way or shown in a way of like a character or something, and then just like letting them become the murderer like out of nowhere. And that's something that bothers me. So I try to at least agree and understand the idea behind the cameraman being involved, because the cameraman allows it to be shot in specific ways, such as you see when it's all shaky and stuff, you know somebody's holding the camera at all times, and it's almost like you can make that a directional, like a intentional choice. And then when they specifically set up the shot so you can see everybody going, it's specifically set up a certain way where, you know, nobody's on control of the camera. So it's very obvious at that point that if there's nobody manning the camera, the person who was beforehand isn't. So it makes a lot of sense that you can say, okay, we did introduce this character, or at least show you that this is a person. But to me, that still feels like a cop-out way of kind of going about it. And I don't like that a lot. It just bothers me, because it's one of those, if I was watching like a whole murder mystery thing and then they revealed that, I'd be like, this is a shitty way for them to kind of approach that. I personally just wouldn't like that. So like I said, I would have been very unsatisfied if that's kind of how they ended this here, and all was kind of well. And it might be like me expecting these like big things that aren't actually like happening. Or like the show might not actually be about that, like creating like these insane things, right? Like especially the earlier episodes really weren't like that. So something like this, like I guess could have followed that normal nature, I guess, of this. So I'm very happy that it's not, because I feel when you spend multiple episodes on an arc, to have something so like simple as your conclusion definitely bothers me. So I'm happy it's not. Anyways, we specifically get presented the idea regarding the rope at the end, and then it makes me immediately start thinking about the other things that we had to kind of pay attention to, that the writer themselves specifically made note of in the script, of certain things that we need regarding the amount of blood and stuff to be used, regarding the rope, regarding I think there was a third one, I can't remember right now. There might have not been, though. It might have just been two. Regardless, specifically, we do have to key in on the details that are being left behind, because everything is appearing to be fully intentional. And while the cameraman definitely makes a lot of sense, and I definitely think the cameraman can still play a part in this, I don't think that's the end all be all. So what exactly it is, I don't know. And that's where I'm like, not even gonna be able to give you a guess. I truly at this point have like zero fucking clue still as to what it could be. I mean, I'm assuming we have to use the rope in some sort of way. No, I got nothing. I'm not even gonna overthink it, because I'm just gonna go watch the next one right after this anyway. So I'm not going to go too far into it. I wonder at the end of Chitanda having something to talk to Ariki about, if that was specifically about this as well, the same thing, but she didn't want to like kind of put him on the spot in front of other people or something, or if it was just like, she's like, damn, you came up with this, because this shit's ass. Or something. Like, I really wonder what hers was. And it's also a weird episode just because of her lack of inclusion. And I feel like she just has such a like big presence on the things that we do. But I guess that her lack of inclusion makes sense, considering the fact that she is shown to not have interest in the genre. But it is, once again, still like a mystery and something that she has claimed to be curious at one point about. So I'd expect her to be around a bit more. Going forward, I'm assuming she will next episode now, but I am interested. Going through the episode, few things that specifically just like stood out to me that I wanted to make note of was the specific shot choices and like angles and stuff that they were doing here. And this sequence I think is really, really fucking cool. I don't have like anything else to say about it. I just thought it was really cool. It was like, these were just reversing shots that we keep showing, another reflection in eyes reversing. I also love when you add verticality in a way to like scenes like this. So having something like this where you can have all these different lines and motion kind of going across, it really does stuff for me visually. So something like this is really fucking spectacular for me to kind of see. The entire talk about having special abilities or people being born with certain things that other people aren't is fascinating, for the idea that Ariki's never really thought of himself as worthy, I guess, of having these, or never really thought of himself like this. And I wonder, all these times I always question when they say like, oh, I bet you never thought of this, or they try and say that they don't think of themselves in a certain way. I always think back to like an idea that they have, and this is something that they've been told before, that they are special or that they are good at like this or something. And they've always kind of suppressed that because they don't like the expectations that may come with that. And then the failure that can kind of come as a result of that. And I've always kind of viewed characters like this as something like that. And he's kind of not sure it's okay to accept that type of claim or that type of title as if he is this unique person or this special person or skilled at something, right? Because if he is, a lot of things, you know, wrong can kind of come with that mentally could take a toll on him, and he doesn't want to face that reality. So as a way to kind of barricade himself off, he builds up this wall of saying that's not true, and constantly like kind of putting himself down and removing himself from these types of situations, which somebody like Chitanda slowly breaking into that shell over and over. And then we get the talk, which is also more fascinating, specifically with us and Satoshi, where he starts talking to him about like, oh, do you ever feel these things that you can only do things or you can only accomplish things? And he's like, no, I can't. I'm not like that. I'm definitely not built like that. And this is interesting because Satoshi's shown us this the entire time that he hasn't had this, and he's been envious of Ariki for these certain specific aspects multiple times now. I say multiple, I think it was one other time. Regardless though, his idea of like, I can't do this, oh, if Mayuka went ahead and she started doing the same thing or showing interest in the same things I am, she'll surpass me surely. To me, it also just like, some people naturally are more gifted at things, but a lot of times it has to do with physical things. I guess it can do mentally too. So what I'm saying might not make any sense here, but to me, it just has to do with, once again, similarly, he's closed himself off in a certain way or puts himself down in certain ways to a point that he refuses to kind of accept and actually push and try at these things. And sure, it might take more effort, and sure, somebody like Mayuka can go ahead and do it ahead of you and pass you in a certain amount of time, but you're closing yourself off by saying, I'm not able to do this, and you're kind of just limiting yourself to where you're at right now, instead of actually working towards and finding that progress, even if it's a slow and steady one, being able to kind of show some sort of progression there and actually showcase to other people that you are useful in some sort of way, or that you are this special person, or you do have this immense knowledge in this certain field or something in comparison, you know. And I think that's just interesting. Also, I wondered at the time, I mean, I'm assuming they're not, but when I first saw these, I was like, was this Mayuka and fucking Chitanda? I thought that would be really funny if it was. They were just like outside hanging out while we were out doing this, but I guess that's not the case because we saw her at school later, so that's definitely not the case. Anyways, specifically him trying to tell him about having like value and like the things that he's doing and stuff, and then immediately shutting it down. But we get this one shot where we get this where he specifically like looks away in the anger, the envy that he kind of has towards him, the jealousy almost that he is of somebody of Uriki's caliber is really interesting. And I really don't have much of a read on it outside of that. That I know for a fact he holds this towards him for some reason, and there's something about him that Satoshi kind of wants, but he doesn't, or wishes that he has. And I'm assuming that just goes towards why he constantly pushes him and Uriki to do things and put him in these situations, because he can't stand seeing somebody who has these special, unique talents, ability type of things that he can't possess and he doesn't have, and he can't stand seeing them kind of let it go to be like waste and not actually pushing themselves and try anything. And I think that's why he might push him constantly in these directions, because he's envious of that. But I don't know, because it always comes back to just the idea that he considers himself like a processing unit in some sort of way, or whatever his line is, and he's not capable of these things. He just reads me to somebody who has like extreme self-doubt in certain situations and in his own abilities. And I don't know if any of this is actually true, or if he's just kind of, I don't know what it is, but it reads weird to me. And then for the most part, we get the entire episode after this just being, we have some fun and cute moments kind of mixed in, specifically the film critique, and then Satoshi being dragged away and everything. But for the most part, it's just Uriki trying to figure out what exactly is going on. These sequences where he's kind of walking through all the films and then like the TVs and the different stuffs like that, I think is really, really cool, and I love those. And then we talk to her specifically about what exactly he thinks the plans are. He makes everything kind of come together, and it makes a lot of sense using the cameraman as his person that he's kind of putting the blame on in the situation. And then it ends kind of there. We don't have to go too much in depth on that because we kind of get it. At the end, we end up seeing that they're actually having a full showcase of this film, so it appears that they did go through and they finished it. And then that's it. We get the rope conclusion at the end. Tanda has something she wants to talk about. I don't know what exactly that is, assuming it has to do with this specifically. I thought it was going to be something else earlier because I thought we were done with this, but that's not the case. So I don't know what hers is. And then we have the thing with the rope kind of happen. Where I'm at, Still don't know exactly how it's going to happen. I'm going to make a guess, though, that specifically the only reason that they used Urki is because of his abilities to kind of be detective in this and kind of figure these things out and clue in on these certain things. And they used him almost to write the remainder of the film so that they could do it because Hongo is sick. Or whatever the case might be, and this isn't actually how it is, so they jumped the gun and they wrote a film that the audience at a surface level or people who aren't overly fascinated by this type of genre and stuff are going to be like, yeah, that makes sense, that's good enough, like me, like how I literally was throughout the episode, right? And then they're going to walk out and not think twice of it. And instead, I believe that's not at all what the original intention was, and he completely overlooked things, which is interesting because now this might shatter him and the things that he kind of built up, this confidence a little bit that he built up this episode regarding all of that, and regarding like the fact that he was like, I'm the only one who can do this, or I was the only one who could, right? So that might shatter him a little bit here. So I'm interested to see if they play into that a little bit more or not. But we're not done yet, and I really wonder what it is. I feel like they might not throw away the cameraman idea. Like I feel like they might still use that in some sort of way, specifically as like the seventh actor. But I there's more to it, and I don't get a read on what it could be. Cool, fun one. Well, I guess I'm just gonna jump into the next one and see what happens. So if you leave any comments, I'll appreciate it because it'll help me understand this episode a little bit more. But just know I probably have seen the other one by now. Thank you very much if you watched. Leave a like and subscribe. They do really mean a lot to me. Feel free to check out the other videos in the channel. Leave any comments about this episode or series. I'll be back for the 11th episode, and I'm assuming finale of this arc because there's an 11.5. So I'm assuming we end next episode, but excited. Once again, thanks very much for watching. See you next time. Peace.